the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, has told the United States that he is opposed to the establishment of a Palestinian state once the war in Gaza ends. So Israel's allies, including the UK and the US, have long urged for the revival of a two-state solution in which a future Palestinian state would live side by side with Israel. But all of this comes as hostages still remain trapped inside Gaza, including Kefir Bibas, who turned aged 1 in captivity, bless his heart. And all of this as well comes as guidance for museums shared by a taxpayer-funded charity in the UK. The Collections Trust has described Hamas as anti-colonial freedom fighters. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And in the last hour, Shadow Foreign Secretary David Lammy has been interrupted at a Fabian Society speech by pro-Palestinian fighters. So joining me to discuss all of that is Mystifier Uri Geller. Uri, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Well, I mean, there's a lot to unpack. Where do you want to start, Uri?
You just mentioned, look, this is totally unbelievable, Nana, because a taxpayer-funded organization which advises British museums and art galleries has said, as you just mentioned, that Hamas should be described not as terrorists, but as anti-colonial freedom fighters. I mean, Nana, you couldn't make this up. Who wrote this? Who wrote this? Who signed it off? This charity is aligning itself with one of the most barbaric, anti-Semitic terrorist group in the world. And let me remind you that in the United Kingdom, it is illegal to support Hamas. So I hope that there is an investigation and that anyone responsible for this so-called guidance is immediately kicked out. It is shocking and it is disgusting. Now, you mentioned the baby. Nana, this has been a very sad week in Israel and around the world. And let me tell you why. This week, as you said, an Israeli baby called Kfir Bibas turned 1 year old. But baby Kfir has been held hostage by Hamas since October the 7th. He has spent, listen to this, he has spent a third of his life in captivity. It is so painful to even talk about this, Nana. Look, tell me, why doesn't Hamas, I'm asking your viewers, why doesn't Hamas simply release the baby, release him and the other 130 hostages and bring this war to an end? Why don't they do that? Tell me your opinion, Nana.
Do you know, in my opinion, in my view, I don't think they want it to end. They have, in their covenant, said that they want to destroy all Jews, kill all Jews, is that it very clearly, and that was their intention when they went on the 7th of October. They've also said they're going to do it again. So, in my opinion, I don't think they want to stop. If they stopped firing the bombs, in my view, and gave back the hostages, I'm thinking that Israel would stop. Am I not correct?
Absolutely. And look, let me go now to the Benjamin Netanyahu situation. I just want to show all your viewers, look, I was a paratrooper. I fought in the Six-Day War in Jerusalem. I know what war is. It's awful. It's shocking, terrible, lots of civilian casualties. Now, but meanwhile, this is, just listen to this. Meanwhile, there is another huge march taking over the streets of London today. Am I right? These are sympathizers of Hamas who are glad, listen, who are glad the 7th of October happened. What has happened to your country, Nana? What happened to your country?
Well, listen, Uri, some people on those marches might argue that they are actually worried about the death and, or, you know, lots of people dying. And, you know, that's what they're worried about. A lot of people really calling for peace. In fact, we had David Lammy, who's one of our parliamentarians, calling for a ceasefire. I want you to watch this. Have a listen. That was a response to one of our politicians who was on stage at a Fabian Society event calling, I think he was calling for a ceasefire.
Look, the whole thing is so shocking what's happening, not only in Israel, but around the world. I mean, they're all firing ballistic missiles, the Houthis, anyhow. But let's go back now to Benjamin Netanyahu. I want to say something else about this, and this is very important because I want to help your viewers, Nana, understand something. There is an obsession with the idea that a two-state solution will solve everything. But let me tell you why this is so dangerous. Look, just imagine the West Bank and Gaza became a Palestinian state. Listen, it was only encourage the Palestinians to step up the fight to destroy Israel. It would be armed with tanks, with missiles, and an air force, and it would be all backed by Iran. That's the head of the snake. Now, we saw that Hamas, we all saw what Hamas did on October the 7th, and Hamas would easily take over a Palestinian state. A two-state solution is not a recipe for peace. It is a recipe for war. The only solution to the conflict is to destroy Hamas and to have a direct negotiation with the Palestinian leadership, which accepts Israel, that Israel is here to stay. This is the only way to create a bright future for Israel and a bright future for the Palestinians. And both people deserve it.
Well, but that sounds like, so you're saying a one state where they all live together in harmony, you'd keep the West Bank and the settlers within the West Bank, and what Gaza would still be a mix of, how would you have that working? Look,
I have been living in Old Jaffa for 8 years now. I lived in England, Sonning-on-Thames, for 35 years. My children grew up in England. Daniel and Natalie went to British schools and so forth. I'm here, if you look out of the window, there are Arab Muslims there, and there are Arab Christians, and we live harmoniously. There's no problem. And it is, I believe that this is, you can solve this situation. I walk into an Arabic restaurant. They are so warm towards me. I'm warm towards them. This can be done, Nana, and I think we should focus first to destroy Hamas.
So you think destroy Hamas,
Absolutely.
Unity, one state, Israel, Palestinians, everybody living together in harmony. Uri, that would be wonderful. Thank you so much for talking to us. It's a beautiful vision. I pray that it becomes that. Uri, take care. That's Uri Geller. He's Mystifier. He's there live in Tel Aviv.